some pain in their life, you can see it in their eyes. They're changing at night, underneath the dark skies, forced to become something darker inside. You can feel the switch, feel the shift in the tide. They keep desiring something that's more inspiring. Their brains rewiring, old thoughts they start expiring. They're never tiring, no, now they feel the fight in them. They feel the fire sweep, take over entirely. They feel it growing, it's showing the feelings. They keep overflowing, always stoking the fire. Adrenaline is overloading, hit the mat like a fighter. They never let up, never throwing, giving to their desires. No, they keep working on their focus. They feel the temperature rise, now there is no place to hide. You better dig deep inside and find anything, everything that you could ever need. Every breath that you breathe, dedicated to believe.
Streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told, swore they would feast one day on their bones. Going to the streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told, swore they would feast one day on their bones. They took the form of a beast. 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 They're all gone now, so you better watch out. Reborn now, took a new form now. Straight beast underneath what you see. They gon' eat anything, everything, make them bleed, cut them deep. A villain origin story, tangled with glory, now it's looking stormy. Off in the distance, hear the roaring, thunder pouring, there ain't no ignoring. Streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told, swore they would feast one day on their bones. Going to the streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told, swore they would feast one day on their bones. They took the form of a beast. 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 They took the form of a beast.
pain in their life, you can see it in their eyes. They're changing at night, underneath the dark skies. Forced to become something darker inside. You can feel the switch, feel the shift in the tide. They keep desiring something that's more inspiring. Their brains rewiring, old thoughts they start expiring. They're never tiring, no, now they feel the fight in them. They feel the fire sweep, take over entirely. They feel it growing, it's showing the feelings. They keep overflowing, always stoking the fire. Adrenaline is overloading, hit the mat like a fighter. They never let up, never throwing, giving to their desires. No, they keep working on their focus. They feel the temperature rise, now there is no place to hide. You better dig deep inside and find anything, everything that you could ever need. Every breath that you breathe, dedicated to believe.
Streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told. Swore they would feast one day on their bones. Going to the streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told. Swore they would feast one day on their bones. They took the form of a beast. 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 They're all gone now, so you better watch out. Reborn now, took a new form now. Straight beast underneath what you see. They gon' eat anything, everything, make them bleed, cut them deep. A villain origin story, tangled with glory, now it's looking stormy. Off in the distance, hear the roaring, thunder pouring, there ain't no ignoring. Streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told. Swore they would feast one day on their bones. Going to the streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told. Swore they would feast one day on their bones. They took the form of a beast. 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 They took the form of a beast.
Hello everybody and welcome to Waylander Gaming. It's Waylander here tonight, bringing you the streams. It's the group stages, day number 3 of the Iron Gauntlet. First match up is going to be Deus Mastondonte versus MCF, MercilessFreaks. It's going to be, well, the neighbors across the ocean. Madagascar on one hand versus Mauritius on the other. These are the countries these two teams are from. And we've got DM winning the coin toss and opting to go for the left side, going with their picks and bans. Camilla, Angela coming out there from Sans as the two lobby bans for a side of Deus. At MCF, let's see how they respond. Because as we know, right, with our lobby ban style of things, it adds a little bit of flavor. It gives us that option to have at least the 10 bans that we expect. And with the amount of meta heroes right now, there are some definite must-pick, must-ban heroes in that list that you don't want to have to factor into to deal with in the drafting phase itself. Because I mean, you're looking at heroes like Alice at this moment in time. She's in that must-pick, must-ban phase. The same with Grok. The same with CC. This particular season, compared to many of the other seasons that we have to deal with, this one has had some of the largest numbers of must-pick, must-ban heroes brought into the mix. As we see Joy and Alucard. So it was Angela, Camilla, Joy, Alucard being the bans in the lobby stage. I'm expecting to see some of the bans I mentioned come out in the actual banning phase, though I will say this, in terms of drafting here in the Southern African region, so this would be including the countries that we're dealing with right now, which is a Madagascar team up against a Mauritian team. We will expect the bans to be a little bit different because our meta is slightly on the different side compared to the rest of the world. Sometimes we're a little bit behind. I know it took us a while to start playing a lot of the fighters on the gold lane, because they basically picking fighters on the gold lane is almost like having two XP laners, and that changed the early game rotation. It made the playstyle a lot more aggressive. If you're following the pro matches, most recently we streamed the South African matches for the IESF, and the teams that South Africa were up against, you could see how aggressive they played in the early game. They did not really give South Africa, or well, anybody that they were playing up against, time to breathe. Constant invades, counter jungling was the name of the game. So let's head into the lobby, or into the match here. We're just waiting for everyone to ready up, and then we can get started. I think everybody's ready up. Let me just find out what the which person has charge of the lobby here, and then we can get things going. And head into the actual drafting phase. So let me just let them know that I'm ready, just in case they're waiting for the streamer to be ready. But in the meanwhile, while we're waiting for them to ready up and let us head off into the game, I can see that the votes are going very heavily right now in the favor of MCF. MCF's been out of the equation for a while, and now they're back in it. There's a couple of players that are new to the MCF lineup, at least the ones I'm used to seeing, which would be like Lance or Liquid Boxy. Okay, no, Boxy has been around for a while. I think maybe there's some name changes as well. Like, okay, Shanks, we know that name, part of the scene for quite a long time, but slightly unfamiliar faces, a few of them, right? Because I heard they have a bit of a new draft. Deus, on the other hand, right, I've got to see plenty of Deus in all the Madagascar tournaments that I've been dealing with, most recently in the Hunter tournament. So we expect some big things coming through from that side. And as you can see, the lobby ban phase, no one taking it in terms of like, let's remove all the meta heroes right there. Right then we jump straight into it, and it's like, immediately it's Grok gone, YSS gone, Kimmy gone. These are heroes that have the ability to dominate, especially in the early part of the game, with a Grok can change the course of a battle. It can disrupt lane equilibrium with that wall of his. YSS, as we know, is one of the top, say, 3 jungle picks at this moment in time. Kimmy, one of the monsters of the mid lane. And as I'm sure you've all seen in the recent matches, mid lane control is massively important. And I'm liking this from Deus. They decided to leave a couple of the meta picks available. You still got your Kimmy pick. You still got Gato. You still got quite a few of these must pick heroes in the equation. And they decide to lock on to one of maybe the queen of that draft, which is Alice. So Shifty Zoro with the Alice, Civ with the Lance pick, which is another one of those heroes. You see Lancelot in the equation. You can't just leave him open. You've got to get that lock on down. Euro with the Minotaur pick, and Minotaur has been slowly but surely creeping back into the meta. A bit of, I wouldn't say strange, right? It's just a little bit unexpected that he's so strong in the current meta. I suppose it's that it's not so much of his ultimate, right? The Minoan Fury. It is a very strong ultimate, granted, but it's the heals that he provides, that sustainability that it's quite crazy. Keeps the team fight going for quite a long time, and we are dealing with the sustained meta. Prime locking onto the Fredrin just to add some control. So if he times his taunts right when Lance dashes in, he's going to be able to hold him up. The same with, Lance, who's playing the Yuzong. Who's going to jump into the backline as well. You're going to need somebody to provide a little bit of protection. Kaja is another pick for the side of Deus. They just want to have that hard lockdown for the Lancelot. Though they won't have that hard lockdown early on, as in before level 4. So around that first turtle, it may be a bit difficult to get the control you need on the Lancelot. Though with the Beatrix being picked up with a Petrify, if she's around there, with Alice, with Fredrin, you have a decent amount of degree just to deal with Lancelot dashing in, out, and around. And Eve there just to follow up with the Throne of Ruin that can come out. So they have quite a few abilities to Deus that can stack one on top of the other. We got real world manipulation into Eclectoblades, into Throne of Ruin, and with the control provided by Fredrin, once we get beyond the 5-minute mark and rotations are going to be a little bit quicker, faster, it's going to be a bit crazy for the side of MCF to deal with this huge team fight potential. However, there's a lot of counter picking coming on here from MCF. For instance, Shanks with the Valier pick. I'm loving this Valier into this lineup. Can deal quite nicely with both the Alice and the Fredrin. That second skill coming through from Valier is one of those skills that personally I'm going to be on the lookout for, because it can replace, dispossess, or displace rather, those two heroes who will be forming the core of the front line for Deus. But with my thoughts on this matter being stated, into the game we go. It is, as we know, group stages, so everything is technically a best of one. And so it's the points to play for in day number 3. Let's see who is going to win this potential matchup between these two teams. MCF going for the let's everybody help the jungler. The same can be said for the side of Deus, minus the Kaja. Of course, he's using this opportunity to try and get as much XP as he possibly can just by supplying a bit of vision. Just wants to throw out those skills. Almost gets the buff steal, but nice play from him. Though, like I said, slightly different in terms of the meta that we see in rotation policy, where it's generally a lot about this mid lane control. That second skill, look at that control coming in here. But Eve just using the range that she has just to out-clear the Valier as... once more, we'll expect to see this. Just going in, maybe trying to get a bit of setup. They do bait out the second skill. They want to try and avoid a lot of the damage coming from Shax. But Yuri making that rotation across. However, it is Benedetta with the first blood there on the XP lane. So winning that matchup, you wouldn't expect that at around level 2. But Bernadetta showing her skills, showing the fast fingers, knowing how to avoid and understand that matchup damage. Meanwhile, there's a lot of pressure coming through here as Alice wants to try to help Fredrin secure some of the advantage. But this is the thing with the Lance. Lance has that very, very, very fast jungle clear spear. Throws out the Thorn Rose. Kaja has to dash back to a little bit of safety. Alice is there just to try to frontline. Fredrin takes a lot of poke damage from Valier, but there's the reset. YSS making rotation across towards the mid lane, wants to try to get a little bit of extra farm, having lost some. I was waiting for the dash in there, trying to get the poke damage onto Sans on the Eve. Eve taking quite a bit, but we'll build up that shield. Won't be too scared right now. We're waiting for Kaja to supply the vision as both teams try to get set for this, the first turtle dance of the game. Nice rotation coming in from Granger here, whereas Kaja's placing the pressure here into MCF's jungle. Granger waiting, patiently, baiting out. We know Alice is going to join into the mix. She's going to try to delay her engagement, though. That Throne of Ruin is a game changer of an ultimate, so we should see a full 5v5 scrimmage going on right here, with only Kaja and Minnow who haven't hit that level 4 power spike, though they're trying their best to do that using the passive now from the roam items. On the Lancelot starts this up. It's going to be Eve throwing out the poke skill. There's Alice doing what Alice does best, trying to zone away. It's going to be the real world manipulation into the mix, but the dive from the backline forcing Sans away, but he gets taken down there by Lance on the Yuzong, but Yuzong in a lot of danger, will be taken down himself, so it's a 1-for-1 exchange with Fredrin securing that turtle as well. So overall, I would say this engagement has gone in the favor of Deus, picking up their neutral objective. They did lose a player, but it was 1-for-1 overall. Bernadetta with the wave cut here, just going to make sure that she can place enough pressure, make it difficult enough, and then start with the rotations. Already there's a bit of a jungle invade going on here. Kaja does have used the Divine Judgment already, took a lot of damage. Eve with the poke, they just want to try and create enough chaos around the map. Once more, lovely play coming in from Bernadetta, just providing that extra number advantage. There's the opportunity for them to go for a dive in here. Gets a bit of poke damage onto Euro, who has to retreat back to a bit of safety. I thought he was going to go in for the full engagement, but didn't have Petrify available. Eclectic Blades is in there, but this is what you expect when you have this early game pressure, this early game potential. Like the side of Deus has. They're rotating across the map. They're placing as much control as they can on the mid lane, going for those small jungle invades, having stolen the buff. However, we're going to see Kaja taking a lot of damage. There's the real world manipulation coming up from Eve just to protect and keep safe. It's though it's not a skill that you really want to spam all that much. Oh, there's the Eclectic Blade, the Petrify into the mix, but Yuzong with the counter engagement, Mano and Fury with a knockup, Revitalize not enough to keep everybody alive. Lance joining in here. Oh, there's going to be the ult coming out from Fredrin, but not enough to save him. The Appraiser's Wrath did quite a bit of damage, but just not enough to save him, and that's going to be a full team wipe. Just a few seconds before this turtle, as you can see, they're trying to get even more control onto this map by pressurizing the mid and top lane, securing as much gold as possible before you go for that turtle, which is clever, because I mean, this game is a game of trading when you think about it. It's how much of gold can you get in what shorter space of time. Oh, and to the live chat, my apologies. I got so caught up in the game itself that I have not been responding to all the hellos that's been out there. Indominus, Sora loves food. I also love food, so you and I think we'll get along very well. And Lucky, hello to all of you. The zoning away by Deus, very much on point. They've achieved what they wanted to, but Lance trading this off here for the blue buff. Will manage to secure that, uses the Phantom Execution to disengage. Boxy throwing out a ton of damage here with the Granger. Death Sonatas raining down there onto Kaja, who's forced back to the safety of the mid lane tier 1 turret. Fredrin just wants to control the wave, doesn't want to let it poke through here. Meanwhile, Lance is being engaged upon by Alice, and we're at that point in the game where things could start to shift towards the team that has the bigger team fight potential, but you've got to time all your skills properly. It's that Alice Eve combination. So as we got to see, when that real world manipulation came out and was used and then cancelled, the more Yuzong went in directly after that, and then even though you've got that massive power spikes that you have with those huge team fight ultimates, if they're not available, then that's the problem. Because as I was saying, Eve's ultimate has one of the longest cooldowns in the game. There's Lance using the puncture and dashing in, just trying to protect that mid lane from the 4. The counter engagement is on here. Oh, but there's the Divine Judgment onto the Villiers. Do they pick the right target? It's Road of Ruin into the real world manipulation, but the follow-up from the side of MCF is on point. It's a 1-for-1 exchange. However, Eclectic Blades into the backline, doesn't manage to catch up to anybody. It's the Thorn Rose, it's a puncture. It's going to be the Phantom Execution, but Nance is taken down underneath the tier 2 turret. By Alice. How did Alice get that final bit of damage in there? And they protect the mid lane as well. All of this crazy action going on just before this first Lord of the match. And there was a 3-2 exchange in the favor of Reduces. They managed to reduce the gold lead. So it is about 1.2k. It's nothing significant. Well, the longer this fight goes, the game goes on, Alice will obviously play a part, right? But you've got a lot of it's got to come down to Kaja and who he's going to be able to land the Divine Judgment on. He's got 3 targets. It's Lance, Villiers, and Granger. In the early game, your target should either be the Lance or the Villiers, simply because they're going to be dishing out the most amount of damage. Once it hits towards the late game, you're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to wait until you can grab the Granger. So Kaja is going to have to not be the initiator. And this is where Alice comes into the front line. So Alice needs to be the one who goes in, baits out the skills, and combines with the Eve ultimate, and then you get the pickups coming from there. There's going to be the flicker coming through from the Villiers just to try to save him. Divine Judgment does come out on the Minotaur, but he sustains through all of it. Now it's counter engage time. Yuzong in the Black Dragon form, trying to put as much pressure as he can. However, Kaja dancing around. The Death Sonatas are raining in. Passive has been proc. Real world manipulation into the mix, but being cancelled out by that Yuzong once more. He's trying to chase down the Eve. She's getting caught underneath the turret. Will he be able to proc the passive? Yes, he does, and disengages. While at the same time, you can see MCF secure this mid lane turret. The punctures coming through from Lancelot, and a bit of an exchange. Alice did exchange it, but you can see now, if you're going to have this team fight composition, you need the full lineup of your players, the full line of your team, in order to get into the mix. Because once Eve puts down that real world manipulation, she sits sort of a sitting duck, and Yuzong is there directly to pick on that Eve. He's going to be a bit of a bully in the team fights for the Eve. However, I will say that it's a lot of discipline coming out from the Yuzong. Because, when team fights happen, a lot of us are tempted to just use the skills that we have when it's available. But you have to understand that this is 5-man. The way we play is layered. The way we play is based on your teammates and what your enemies do. So you got to use on pick. You have to be patient enough to know, okay, when Sans hits that real world manipulation, now's my time to shine. I'm not going to go in before that. I'm going to wait very, very carefully just to deal with the Eve, because that is one of those game-changing ultimates that you can deal with. MCF, however, they need to try to get the defense going into the mid lane, but oh, the Divine Judgment! They managed to catch Lancelot. Now the Black Dragon form comes out. They're trying to chase down that Eve. That's the target once more. The Ruin comes in from the Alice, but she has the ability to escape. The Eclecto Blades catches on to everybody. Bernadetta turning the fight around here. Yuzong, he's going to use the Petrify, but he's going to get controlled up by the Fredrin. There's the real world manipulation. Now Lance comes in, but the shield is in there. Dodges the Thorn Rose. This is going to be a 4-for-1 exchange. And with this, we will see the turrets falling in the mid lane. And at the same time, this should be the first Lord going the way of Deus, Mastondonte. And that was the turnaround that we were talking about. That was what we were thinking about. It's when they get that Yuzong Black Dragon form out of the way before the team fight. Look at how the real world manipulation comes into setup. You had Alice frontlining and initiating, and that meant that the Eclectic Blades from the Bernadetta could land as he's trying to go in there, trying to get the poke damage onto Granger. Granger turning around, dishing out the damage, and Reigns in the Death Sonata. Bernadetta in a lot of trouble, and Shanks secures the kill. So it's going to be a kill, but a turret goes in favor of Deus. But MCF, with that kill, should have provided themselves the space, the breathing space that they needed in order to defend this Lord. They do have turrets fairly even. I think it's one turret extra MCF have up and running. And what we always like to talk about, which is the hero or your draft power spikes. The drafting power spikes are going to start to shift in the favor of MCF, because the mid game was where Deus was the one that was going to be shining, right? They had the mid game on point. Now, without an MM, once we start hitting towards the 15-minute mark, so we've got about 2.5 minutes before it gets there, which is a lifetime, we do understand. But once it heads towards that particular point in time, then you're going to see the Granger come online and things going to start shifting and changing. Yuzong with a Black Dragon form trying to dash everybody. There's a Praise's Wrath coming out here to knock out the Throne of Ruin. But there's going to be Alice with the sustain, with the revitalize. They turn around, they take out the Yuzong. Meanwhile, Bernadetta is just pushing away to her heart's content, knows that they've been forced back. She's like, no, MM, no problem. Let me seize this opportunity to basic attack this turret down. This should be a tier 3, an inhibitor gone out of the way. So the control being used here by Deus, very much on point. They realize that Granger is slowly going to be coming online. You don't have a marksman to secure the objectives. Let's use this high sustain comp that we have. Place some pressure. If MCF take the bait, and they did, then you're going to have the opportunity to do what they did. Kaja, lots of damage into there as he was trying to give vision into the front line. 40 seconds or just under to go before we're looking at the next objective, the next Lord coming through. The items, like everyone should be on their 5th item by now. I'm heading on to maybe the 6th. As we're getting towards the 2nd Lord of the game, Deus right now in a very strong position to achieve this objective, to take down this Lord. It's a question now really of, can they get their waves the way they want it to be? It's this advanced preparation before you run into the Lord. I mean, you don't just go and set up for the Lord. You can see Kaja's doing what he needs to do, which is provide the vision that's necessary. Personally, I wouldn't went for 2 on the top lane, but it can work because it creates a lot of open space here. I always like to send one player to get one of the lanes pushed, just to get the waves in a better order. So as you can see, Granger's been forced back. He has to defend, and this gives all the space you need. You're now in a 5v4 situation. Wave control, so important. There's Alice with the dive into the backline, pops the Throne of Ruin. Yuzong with the Black Dragon form. He's just trying to target one person. It's the Eve. The turnaround is in there. Oh God, I didn't see who got the Lord. As Yuzong is just front lining, he's living through all of this. Is he gonna get taken down? Finally he is. It's a 2-for-2 exchange. The damage dealers are there. Kaja has used the Divine Judgment already. Alice into the backline. That dives in onto the Valier. or the Veiler, as he actually likes to pronounce his own name. Oh, there's the Divine Judgment as they pull back onto Boxy, who's taking a lot of damage, dancing around, trying to escape everybody, has the ability to dash. Oh, it's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange. However, MCF did secure the Lord, so I think you could say, even though they've lost one extra player, it will be honors even, because I don't foresee any turret changes apart from this mid lane that should be melted down. Oh yeah, I saw that now. Look, it's Lance who's gotten that Lord. It's very difficult to out-retry a Lance because of that second skill of his, the Thorn Rose. If he times it right, that or you could be using the ultimate, the Phantom Execution. It does so much of instantaneous burst damage, and if they time it with the Retribution as well, doing your damage calculations properly, a good Lancelot's going to out-retry almost anybody. Second skill coming out from Shanks, just to zone this Alice away. Alice has been causing so much of problems, as we would have expected. Though we did see the Granger starting to hurt quite a bit right now. He'd be building up those stacks. He's got that extra range. But MCF have got to provide somebody to play in the half spaces. So you're going to use Yuzong as your frontline. He's been doing a wonderful job of doing so. You're going to have to get Minnow to play into that half space in between the Yuzong and the backline of the Valor and the Granger. That half space is going to be very important in terms of positioning around these neutral objectives, because then he can land the Minoan Fury to both protect his front and back line at the same time, and he can provide that extra bit of sustain. Look at the damage right now from Granger. He dished it out there onto Shifty on that Alice, who's forced back, and the control that Deus were trying to achieve can be now upset as Bernadetta is realizing, oh, wait a minute, I could be in some potential bit of danger. Pops that Eclecto Blades, but the damage output from between both the Lance and the Granger is so much on point as Lance does secure that kill. So they do have the numbers advantage, but the pushback, Lance has to recall. There is going to be no real lane equilibrium. It's going to be Alice and Kajo who's going to try to frontline this. The damage, that's the question. Where's it going to come from? There's Yuzong with the Black Dragon form. He's trying to chase down onto Sansia, who has to flicker back to safety. The pressure is being piled on here. Real world manipulation comes into the mix. Oh, but Frederick secures the objective, and they managed to get out. Alice is in a lot of danger, but if she dies, it'll be worth it for having secured the Lord. Sans trying to give a little bit of protection there for the Alice, but with this Lord, this being a bit of a game changer of a Lord, I don't think they would be too scared when it comes to this. Like they'd be saying, okay, even without our full team lineup here, we have the potential to set up and end this match. Oh yes, we know our next game is scheduled for 8:30, but we'll have a slight delay on there's the Thorn Rose into the background. Phantom Execution comes out, but the Divine Judgment just controls up, snips on that. Lancelot, Death Sonatas are raining in, but there's no way to dive in without the Alice, as Bernadetta's trying to do that job. Oh, they do manage to secure a kill. It's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange, but with two players down for the side of MCF, can they mount out the defense? The next game will be slightly delayed, right? We'll be showing that once this matchup is done. Sometimes the games take a little bit longer than expected, as we're watching another inhibitor bite the dust. But do they have the angle to end this game, Deus? That's the question. They want to try and take down one more inhibitor. The Lord was being allowed to freely push. Granger into the mix here will or should be able to defend this. There's a real world manipulation coming out here. As they pick up the Granger. This could be the angle that they needed. If they can just avoid the user who is trying to engage here into Sans, who is dashing away. Minotaur being caught out. If you can take them down right now, the base is open. There's the angle there. Lance trying to get the waves cleared as the front line's being controlled. The entire set of inhibitor turrets are taken down. Yuzong, there's the Minoan Fury into the mix here. Fredrin, he does have the immortality. Immortality has been popped. The dive is into the backline. Yeah, this is going to get taken out by the Lancelot. They had the opportunity, but they lost too many players. They have taken all the inhibitor turrets, but this does not guarantee a win. Not in the slightest. It's okay, the timing on the Lord. I'm happy that they reduced the timing in terms of the respawn timing. But oh, there's too much damage being taken there by Karja. The same can be said for Fredrin, who is going to get eliminated. And this is what we were saying. It does not mean just because you've got all the turrets that you can win this out. It should be this Lord taken out. Lance is here into the equation. But you've got to be careful of Allison, Eve, and Bernadetta. They can cause a lot of problems. Lance is trying to get onto Sans, who's trying to do his best to avoid all the damage. But Lance, he's going to get caught out here. Has bought the immortality. Wants to try to use all of these minions just to try to escape. He's doing he's playing like a Kyrie maneuver here, just dashing it out, getting back into the mix here, and he gets a killing spree. It's only Alice left into the equation. It's everybody taken down, and that's enough space left for the side of MCF to secure this objective. It's only the Yuzong that was eliminated. I don't think Alice would want to try to come in here to contest. The damage output might be a little bit too high. She's gonna try it anyway. Wants to get that stun off. Lance secures the objective. The Throne of Ruin does come out from the Alice, but she's going to get controlled up. Are they going to go for Phantom Execution with Boxy picking up the kill here? And with this, if they can get... I don't even think you need lane equilibrium. I don't even think you really need lane equilibrium. You just need the Lord. This is beyond the 22-minute Lord. This is just... You're going to walk straight down with the Lord. Whichever lane Lord decides to push down on, just follow the Lord. Go crash in there. It's going to be too difficult to tank through what the Lord is going to provide. Maybe you'd want to get at least one more lane synced up with this. But personally, the Lord at this stage in the game is such a huge advantage that you're not really going to have to worry about it. Or worry about getting proper lane equilibrium. You just need Lord to charge into the base. You got to get a decent spread out and go for it. Because even if they, the side of Juice, cast all their skills, all their ultimates, there's no way you're going to melt this Lord down properly. The control is in there. There's the power of actually having a marksman early on. As Lance, he's going to get engaged upon here. He's got the punctures to try to escape. Meanwhile, the distraction has been created and Lord is barreling his way down the bot lane. Deus are trying to block this Lord up, but there's going to be Minnow into the mix. Has that Minoan Fury, but the Divine Judgment drags him back. As our Euro has to recall, but the Death Sonata is raiding in, taking down the Alice with Valir repositioning, throwing out those skills. Lord still on half HP with all that damage being taken. The waves have been synced up fairly well, but it's going to be the side of MCF trying to get the lock on. Lord's now been taken down, but you've got two waves coming through. At the same time, it's the real world manipulation into the mix. They just need to find that space for Granger to get what he needs to get, which is the lock on. Everybody's locking onto the turn. Granger just dancing around here. Oh, but the waves have been cleared. Oh my goodness, but Granger's still alive and into the mix here. They need one more wave to come through to the side of MCF, but the defense, it's just going to be Sans left alive. I don't think he's going to have the ability to do this. He is dashing it out. Fredrin is into the mix here. Oh, but it's going to be MCF with the victory. Tight fought matchup between these two teams. So well played to both sides. It's Euro picking up the MVP overall with the minnow, and we've got Shifty Zorro with the MVP for the side of Deus. I know normally I'd like to go through all the data and statistics with you, but we're running a couple of minutes behind schedule for the second game. Let me just head into that lobby and we will see the next match coming up.
Revere the abyss.
So the second game for the evening is going to be Tribe versus Friction. So I'm just going to be waiting for the referees here to add me to the lobby, and then we can head on into that. I'm hoping they haven't started yet because we are running a few minutes late, and I didn't have the ability to communicate that.
Only soul-wrenching pain can wake her
Let me
from
see
her
which
ignorance.
game this is. Yeah, I'm just going to try and get myself into any lobby for the time being. I don't know. This is not the lobby I need to be in. Also not the lobby I need to be in. I'm just trying to see which referees have created what lobbies, and I'm trying to get into it and then find out who was supposed to be in charge of this particular lobby. Is it going to be here? Is it this lobby? No. I don't think this is this lobby either. But I'm just going to have the pause screen up and running, and I'll be back with you in just a second.
Got some pain in their life, you can see it in their eyes. They're changing at night underneath the dark skies, forced to become something darker inside. You can feel the switch, feel the shift in the tide. They keep desiring something that's more inspiring. Their brains rewiring, old thoughts they start aspiring. They're never tiring, no, now they feel the fight in them. They feel the fire sweep, take over entirely. They feel it growing, it's showing the feelings. They keep overflowing, always stoking the fire. Adrenaline is overloading, hit the mat like a fighter. They never let up, never throwing, giving to their desires. No, they keep working on their focus. They feel the temperature rise, now there is no place to hide. You better dig deep inside and find anything, everything that you could ever need. Every breath that you breathe, dedicated to believe.
Streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told, swore they would feast one day on their bones. Going to the streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told, swore they would feast one day on their bones. They took the form of a beast. 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 underneath what you see. They gon' eat anything, everything, make them bleed, cut them deep. A villain origin story, tangled with glory, now it's looking stormy. Off in the distance, hear the roaring, thunder pouring, there ain't no ignoring.
That they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep, do what they're told. Swore they would feast one day on their bones. On to the streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep, do what they're told. Swore they would feast one day on their bones.
They took the form of a beast. 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 They took the form of a beast.
Everybody, welcome back to the stream as we're heading into new names for the squads, but familiar names for the players, minus the ones that are in the the Asian characters. I can't tell you who those happen to be. It's just so much Asian characters. I'm like, interesting. But as you can see, the Kenyan side of the field, which will be tribe. They've they won the coin toss. They have the first picks and first bans coming through. But as I said, the name of the squad is fairly new, but the players' names are not. For those of you who've been around the Mobile Legends scenes for a while, like myself, the players like Captain Levi, Klaus, Duloc, Blink, WC Womp have been in the scene for the longest period of time. These are some very, very, very strong OG players, shall we say, being brought into the mix here. I haven't seen them in the tournament setup in such a long time. But as I said, these names are ultra familiar, especially to me, having played this game for so long. The same word can be said now for the players here on the side of Friction. Minus, I said, and my apologies for the Chinese names, because I don't really recognize the Chinese or Japanese characters, depending on what it is, right? Maybe if I can match profile pictures, which change very, very often, to the name, or if I see their WhatsApp number, contact details, and I'll remember. But Novo, Daredevil, Gemini players also very familiar to most of us. So this is whenever I get to see these new squad names, for squads I haven't personally streamed a game for them, like Tribe and Friction. So it's Tribe here on the left hand side, so taking the blue, and red will be Friction. And I'm like, okay, I don't know the names of the squads. But I would let's wait. It's sort of like a patient game as we wait just to check, just to see whether we recognize the names of the players. So this is going to prove to be a very exciting match between these two squads coming up next here on Waylander Gaming. We do have some small bits of technical difficulties where one of the players is experiencing a bit of lag from the side of Tribe, but this is why we have referees in the lobbies right now. It's to be able to deal with the chaos, with the problems that come in with having sometimes unstable networks here across the African region. I'm sure each and every one of us have had that moment where you've lagged out and said to yourself, oh, really? really, at this moment in time in the game. And I know it is an internet meme where us gamers blame lag for when we die, but there are some times where it actually is the lag that killed us. Let's be honest here, right? It can't always be the case, like, it's never going to be no lag, right? But anyway, let me just see what is going on here. I was just, you can also see the messages here as they're telling me it's going to be refs and everybody's lagging. The internet was doing its own funny thing, and we were receiving a couple of messages from Madagascar specifically. They said that it's mlbb in their region. For almost the entire region, most of the players don't have the ability to log on to the game, so there were quite a few forfeits in the group stage matchups, which is going to play a huge part in terms of the scoring. This being day number 3, this is like that, almost like a do or die moment in time, so it's going to be a little bit hectic. We'll just inform game number 3 that there will be a little bit of a delay while we get everything up and ready, and said, okay, looks like they've made a player swap out. They're so fortunate to have substitutes, because without substitutions available, we can't deal with these lag out issues. It is an issue when we're dealing with online tournaments. Granted, when you're in a LAN event, which hopefully at some point in time we'll be able to host tournaments big enough to have these LAN events where you can actually show up and obviously everyone's on the same internet connection there. So we won't really experience those lag issues. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be all good, like where we can actually remove these challenges and problems. But with that being said, right, the world is moving into an online direction, and I will say this, a lot of tournaments, bulk of the tournaments we're going to be dealing with is going to be in this online version of things, and that's as long as we're dealing with the semi-professional amateur leagues like we have right now. It's only the professional scene where once we head into the professional scene, we're going to be using the setup where you have to have they're asking me if I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, so the bands Lance Florin, CCYSS, those are some very, very strong meta bands being removed from the equation. As we will be heading into the drafting phase right now. And I can stop talking about our future plans and start looking at what is currently on the scorecard, what's currently in front of us. 2 very strong teams now that I'm looking at it. When we did the drafting, not the drafting, the draw, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, who's Friction, who's Tribe? And then some advice was thrown out about some of the players there. I'm just like, I don't recognize. Now that I'm seeing them here, I'm like, yeah, I actually pretty much know everybody in this lineup. This is going to prove to be highly entertaining. So, ladies and gentlemen, buckle in, strap up. This is going to be an absolute cracker of a game between these 2 teams. I think there was some lag out issues here as well. Let me see. Oh, just give me a second. I'm gonna have the power screen up and running and sort out what is going on here.
some pain in their life, you can see it in their eyes. They're changing at night underneath the dark skies, forced to become something darker inside. You can feel the switch, feel the shift in the tide. They keep desiring something that's more inspiring. Their brains rewiring, old thoughts they start expiring. They're never tiring, no, now they feel the fight in them. They feel the fire sweep, take over entirely. They feel it growing, it's showing the feelings. They keep overflowing, always stoking the fire. Adrenaline is overloading, hit the mat like a fighter. They never let up, never throwing, giving to their desires. No, they keep working on their focus. They feel the temperature rise, now there is no place to hide. You better dig deep inside and find anything, everything that you could ever need. Every breath that you breathe, dedicated to believe.
Okay, everyone, we've sorted out the technical issues. Apologies for the delay, but we've got everything taken care of. And it's in to the banning phase we go. It's the Phoveus being banned out, so this is going to be quite interesting in terms of what we expect them to what we expect to be the drafting from here. Phoveus is not a typical ban, so will we be seeing some of those dash heroes come out now?
Welcome to Grok's castle, tiny friend.
Your team is picking.
1 second. Oh.
All right, so Duloc going for the Angela very early on. Alice is also available, which means that once you see an Angela these days, the most likely pairing is going to be Angela Alice into the mix. So far, the bans have been pretty standard, minus the Phoveus ban. Though the side of Friction are going for a bit of an old school composition, with Gemini picking up that Camilla pick, and we have an R-Lot in the mix as well. The Curse Blood works quite nicely with the Deadly Slash. But look at this from the side of Tribe. They are going hardcore sustain. Lots of heroes that Angela can work with. So Hilda being picked up. It's probably going to be Hilda on the roam position. One of the strongest roamers in the early game at this moment in time. And Klaus rocking the Ruby. So this should be a Ruby Gold. I mean, we can see, excuse me, a Ruby on the XP lane, but works better into the gold lane, and with that they remove the Granger from the equation, because Granger with his high mobility has the ability, shall we say, to kite out the Ruby. Clint, on the other hand, once they get to that level 4 power spike, has the ability to outrange the Ruby on the gold lane. But the picks coming through here, Infinity locking onto the Kadita to deal with both the Sicilian and the Clint. It's going to make things a little bit difficult. Captain Levi going for the Joy pick. Joy is still very strong, very, very, very much in the meta right now. But Daredevil with the final pick here for the side of Friction is going to have to be quite careful what he goes for. Decides to go for the Basha. This is a clever pick coming through from Daredevil. Basha, Mr. Anti-Heal himself, just to try to deal with the sustain front line that they have. A very high sustain front line. But will he have enough anti-heal to deal with all of this? Well, he's going to have to need his team to follow up quite nicely. The timing between Camilla and R-Lot, not so much Camilla and Sicilian in this matchup. It's going to be the timing between Camilla and R-Lot that could prove to be game-changing. However, the early part of the game belongs to Tribe. If I was on the side of Friction, I'd be trying to play this a little bit on the safer side. I'd be saying to myself, okay, let me just be a bit patient. Granted, we do have a Basha into the mix. but the rest of our team requires level 4. Camilla needs level 4 for her to come online. The same with the Arlot with the final slash. Sicilian with the Bat's Feast as well, and he scales very well into the late game, so the damage output's not going to be there quite yet. Clint as well can do damage, level 1, level 2, but really needs level 4 to be able to proc that passive of his all the time. But with that being said, we head into this matchup. As we know, group stages are all best of ones. It's good luck to both teams playing. It is Tribe in the blue corner up against Friction in the red. It's the points to play for right now. And let the mid lane battle begin. So, once more, it's vying for control of this mid lane. Camilla and Sicilian should have an easier time dealing with the mid lane matchup to gain the control they need in comparison to an Angela and a Kadita, simply because Angela is not a frontliner. Picking up one on the roam is not a bad option. Personally, I prefer if Angela is played as a mid laner, simply because she cannot utilize the maximum potential of a roam. You're not really going to be taking a support hero to show your face in the enemy jungle. You're not going to be playing that aggressive style of play that works out so nicely here. Camilla taking a bit of poke damage. Angela just positioning safely behind everybody as Captain Levi secures all of his farm. So far, Tribe playing very, very patiently. Daredevil using that high mobility that Basha has. Hilda has cleared, gotten into position, doesn't have the ultimate yet, but I mean, that's not one of the things that makes Hilda powerful. However, there's the opportunity to dive in. They're going in underneath the turret. Eclecto plays, the damage is in there. The Revitalize comes in clutch just to save Womp. And I'm sure he's probably saying womp womp as he secured that particular kill. Arlot being chased down now, throws out the final slash, but he doesn't have anybody to, or at least any minions to dash towards to try to get that, or keep himself alive. And so it's two quick pickoffs here for the side of Tribe as they set up in his first turtle of the game. I don't think with this numbers disadvantage that they're going to have the opportunity to, oh, there's the engagement once more as they knock up Gemini. Gemini sent back to the base. Sicilian tried to come in for the defense, but that's going to be 3 kills and the turtle going the way of Tribe. They're setting themselves up with a very strong early game. Picking up a 1.5k gold lead at this stage of the game is halfway through to a big item. That's quite a lot in terms of the gold lead. Klaus here placing a lot of pressure, wants to get as much poke damage as he can onto Novo. There's the Sanguine Claws, does land. The Heart Guard comes out, but the Kadita timed that. What rotation coming in from Infinity. Goes in with the Rough Waves, full blow up as it's the Armor Fended coming up. The knock-up is in there, the control. Gemini trying to get to safety underneath the turret, but that Heart Guard just keeping everybody alive. The heals way too much. It's 5 kills to the good for Tribe. They're being very tribal here, like a group of warriors moving across the map, getting the pickoffs, getting the timings. That positioning there from Infinity, seizing the opportunity to just get into that bush where nobody expected him to be in. But with a Kadita, you gotta learn to expect the unexpected. Once more, the Heart Guard into position. Infinity being saved. We'll have the option to, I don't know, is she going to go for the recall? Yeah, just to heal back up quick enough. Pressure now onto the Hilda. You're going to have to do this. They're trying to get something done. Oh, what a lovely time. Final slash to the Petrify. But the Revitalize. It's why I've been saying Revitalize is one of those OP spells. It's between that and Purify in my mind. It's Revitalize, Purify, Flicker, obviously. Red Flicker's always been a meta spell or battle spell, but Revitalize and Purify are just so broken at this moment in time compared to any other spell that you get. And I mean, Purify is a little bit underrated in terms of what it does, because obviously it removes the CC effects, right, for everything except suppression. But at the same time, it gives you that extra movement speed. Now the final slash, dragging Hilda underneath the turret. Hard guard was committed. There's going to be the cursed blood. Where we see the follow-up damage coming through. The rough waves used to disengage. But Joy entered our backline. Electro Beach, she's trying to get something done, but she's going to get CC'd up. Will she be able to get a kill? Yes, she is. But she's taken down there by the Clinovo there. Nice timing as the Basha zoning away turns things around. We knew this was going to be a hotly contested matchup here. Any small mistake is being punished. First turtle and massive team fight potential going the way of the side of Tribe, whereas Friction now they've managed to build up a head of steam and secure the second turtle and win the last fight 3-1 in their favor. Though while all of this was going down, the turret was taken out. Oh, nice flicker play here coming through from Novo as he manages to reposition, avoiding this ever so deadly Kadita, who's sitting at 2-0-2 at this moment in time. So Infinity doing a good job for the team. But the battle for control of the mid lane will start to change maybe a little bit. Sicilian is doing his best to build up stacks and get that late game scaling going. Kadita just trying to find the angles, waiting patiently. Sanguine Claws has come out, waiting, goes in. There's the combo. There's the rough waves. But it's going to be the Bat's Feast turnaround. Angela's dragged back with the Sanguine Claws. Their damage output is in there. They couldn't get the burst. Meanwhile, it's going to be Joy trying to get the collective reset. But now what a timed curse blood into the mix. Camilla saved the game, however. Cecilian came back, stuck her head around, and then paid the price for it. But it is a 3-2 kill exchange. But the exchange going in the favor of Friction. As you can see, they have eliminated most of that gold lead. Hilda turning around. Hardguard has been committed. The final slashes into the mix here. She's just trying to focus the damage here onto Camilla. Camilla throws out the curse blood, but he's going to get taken down here. Hilda with the curse blood on her. With the Hardguard on her. Is not even interested in the curse blood. He's like, I don't care what damage you're going to do or you're going to dish out. It ain't going to be nothing. So no curse blood available. Numbers advantage on the side of Tribe at this moment in time. The Hard Guard comes out onto Joy once more. Are they going to going in for the full combo? They're trying to control this Basha up. Bat's Feast does come out. There's the rough waves, but Basha sustaining through all of this. He's going to get taken down, but it's the damage output. Way too much from the clip. He's dishing it onto everybody. As the setup is going to be, it's a full team wipe. Friction take this. I don't think they're going to be going for the turtle, or shouldn't be going for the turtle. Now is your opportunity to take the mid lane turret, if you're ever going to have one. As you can see, Novo making that decision. Wise trade-off. If you leave the turtle right now, you can take it. I'm not saying you can't take it. You can take it. But I personally say, right, let's just get as much map control as we possibly can. Switch this for the Lord, because, Lord's going to spawn up, right? If you're ready to reset right now, Lord's going to spawn up. And in terms of winning the game, which would you rather have, the Lord or the turtle? Alright, so into this mid lane battle once more. This time round, Friction have control of the mid lane, having opened up the map. I'm sorry, I was just taking a look at the live chat messages. How do we get into tournaments like this? Well, the tournaments are, unless you're part of the Southern African region, if you try to join in, you're gonna lag. So you have to be some of the countries that are, or in one of the countries that are close by. To join up, just check out the channel description. Not the video description. This just shows what games are being played and who's going to be featuring at what time. But if you go and check out the channel description, you'll be able to get the contact details. Ruby being blown up here. There's going to be the Eclectic Blades into the backline. I'm saying Eclectic Blades. Joy into the backline, who manages to get that the kill, the re-engagement coming out here as the rough waves has been used. We see the knock up. Could this be a turnaround moment? Basha being chased away. Yeah, Captain Levi picking up yet another kill. So this is going to be a 3-for-0 exchange in the favor of Tribe. That Electro Beat's coming out very much on point in terms of damage. Oh, if you're from Botswana here, that's the Southern African bloc. Just check out the channel description. So when you click on the YouTube channel name, you will see that there's some WhatsApp groups, Discord channel links. I suggest joining one of them, preferably the WhatsApp group. It'll take you to an introduction group. One of the admins will talk to you there, add you to the main group, and then from there you will find out about when tournaments are coming up, how you can register for them, and get your team ready and competing in these Southern African tournaments. Second Lord of the game is up, but there's the engagement here onto Arlott. He's in a lot of danger. Is he going to be caught out here? Goes in with a final slash. The turnaround is into the mix. They take down Captain Levi. That's going to be no jungler as the Lord is up and running. However, Duloc does secure a kill. Lord Nova is in a bit of danger with Ruby making the rotation across, but Gemini here with a bit of protection. Okay, deciding not to protect Lord Nova so much. Ruby is on the hunt. Second skill comes out as Hilda and Ruby are going to try and chase down this Clint. Clint gets the cursed blood. There's a bit of help, but he's going to get melted up as the turnaround here from the frontliners with the hard guard onto them. It just takes down everybody. Sicilian, oh my goodness, Sicilian went for the pickup kill. Does take out Infinity, but he's going to get taken down himself. It's a 3-for-1 exchange, and this is going to give the side of Tribe the ability, the option here, just to secure this neutral objective. The Lord, well, I'm saying neutral objective, but it's a big objective to achieve. And based on when they get the Lord and the Lord spawning and making its movement down, there's going to be no holy shields available. So could this be a game-changing, game-winning Lord? Basha trying to get close. He's going to get controlled up. Captain Levi waiting for the electro beats. The Lord with the knock-up. It's going to be the hard guard. Oh, as Captain Levi secures the objective, dashes away. There's going to be the cursed blood into the mix. The teams are sticking down. Tribe staying too close together. It's a 1-for-1 exchange. Kadita tries to get in there to use that rough waves, but has to use it defensively to escape. So advantage the way of Tribe. There's no holy shield right now. The 12-minute mark has expired. Can they use this to end the game is the question. It's going to be difficult. We might get to see one more Lord brought into the mix here. So Lord, just being pressurized here in the mid lane. I think this is a good strategy coming out from Friction. They want to take down the Lord's health bar as much as possible, but the backline dive is in here. They get focusing onto the main damage dealer, which is Clint, who has flickered back to safety. They had to take down the Sicilian as well, but Clint, with that flicker, just staying alive. All are trying to zone away, but Hilda will be trying to engage, get that proper set onto him here as they pull him back, knock him down. The Revitalize coming through. Cursed Blood is onto everybody from the side of Tribe. They're sticking close together, not wanting to get rid of that the linkage in there. As we see the turret falling down here, it's going to be Joy dashing in. There's electro beats into the backline, the hard guard, but it's just not enough damage yet to take down the Clint as they're trying to force that Clint out of the equation. Kadita just does do that, commits the rough waves and gets the Basha with a triple kill. Infinity with the play they're setting up here. They need to try to get some of the tier 3 turrets, because I mean, getting the kills is one thing, but can you secure the turrets? Somebody needs to take care of that mid lane wave, because they could have had 2 waves synced up, and then at least pressure being placed onto one of them in order to clear. Neither of the players alive are being brave enough to try to go and push with the Sicilian around. And that, in my opinion, not pushing with the Sicilian available is dangerous. Sicilian is one of the best wave clearers in the game. Scales amazingly well in terms of wave clear. So I look at it and I'm like, okay, it's a very dangerous game to try to not end early enough when you're up against a Sicilian. It is going to prove increasingly difficult. Right now, you can see that Captain Levi is hard focusing Novo on the Clint as one of the main sources of damage right now. But as this game goes further and further on, who are you going to focus on? If the two of them just spread out a little bit, you're going to have to deal with both Sicilian and Clint, as we see a bit of a jungle invade going on, though nothing too serious. Right now, we expect both of the teams to be trying to vie for lane dominance. You just want to get the waves sorted out, and this is one of the strengths of having an Angela. So Angela is just going to be doing what we expect Angela to do. It's a 4v5, or so it would seem. Angela's setting up the slow push here on the bot lane, waiting very patiently in the bushes for when it's time to land that hard guard. And so she can just keep pushing, controlling, and you can see the side of Tribe not really wanting to start this Lord. They need to start the Lord once Angela starts putting pressure on the tier 3 turret, because that is the moment, that's the trigger. There's Hilda going in onto Arlo to takes that damage and repositions. Angela trying to force everybody back. It's going to be the hard guard now coming in, but Infinity is taken down. The Captain Levi is into the backline. Ruby with the armor fending onto everybody. The final slash does come through. It's a 3-for-2 exchange. Captain Levi waiting, just so he wants to try to get that Electro Beats back up and running. But this, as you can see, even though you lost the team fight overall, and you should have lost the Lord, the lane push, forcing the side of Friction back. This is why you gotta establish your lane dominance before these objectives. They change everything. Clint being chased on here. There's the Electro Beats. They want to try to get to the Clint. Oh, there's the burst. And that's what Tribe were looking for at this moment in time, to take out one of the main damage dealers. However, Sicilian is still in the mix here. You got to be careful. Sicilian is not a hero to be playing games with at this particular point in time. We just see the builds for everybody, more or less heading towards that complete build timing. Hilda just wants to poke, zone away, create the space necessary for the team. There is quite a slow push going on in favor of Friction at this moment in time. Ruby is there to deal with it, but they're going to have to wait for Ruby to come back to do the frontlining stories. Angela here has to wait in this bush. Duloc could get caught out by the Basha. Is trying to set up the slow push once more on the bot lane. Kamala providing that vision, since we do have the deadly grass up and running. Sicilian gonna get caught out by the Ruby. There's the Bat's Feast being forced out. It's a Joy dashing around, wants to land the Electro Beats here. They're chasing down Clint. They managed to get one. It's the Armor Fended coming out. Rough Waves with a follow-up as the side of Tribe switch gears. They managed to split up the team using the wave pressure just to get rid of the front line. They're now engaging onto everybody. Curse Blood does come in, and that's going to be a 3-for-0 exchange with the 17-minute Lord. I'm not going to really be waiting for the 18-minute Lord, even though it's so close, right? You might as well just secure this, take this down. You've got a lot of control right now, and this could be a game-changing angle. The question is, without the marksman, and that's always the danger of going for these fighter compositions, without the it's difficult to get the lock onto the base. You're going to need that ranged damage dealer to deal the basic attacks. It'll all come down to timing of the skills. I think a lot of pressure will be here on Klaus on the Ruby for this setup. If a Ruby can land the armor fended onto the backline of Friction, it'll be all over. If Friction can avoid the control that's going to come out from that Ruby, they might be able to defend this. The waves aren't exactly synced up, and this is not what you want to see if you are on the side of Tribe. There's the engagement here as they blow up Captain Levi. This is why you gotta get your lane equilibrium sorted out, because if you don't do it, it's way too difficult to deal with. Like in terms of gaining the advantage. So you're going to expect a proper defense coming out. It's why we've been saying. You can protect. Okay, I'm not sure why the mid lane turret did fall. Okay, we need to have a bit of a pause. Looks like there was a small bit of a lag out. I was wondering why there were some players just standing still, and the mid lane wasn't cleared out. It's because I think the Sicilian is having a bit of a problem there, a bit of a lag issues. And right now, even though the map control is in the favor of Tribe, you cannot count Friction out simply because of their draft. Their draft is geared towards this late game. We saw this in the game before this. Deus versus Deus Mastondonte from Madagascar up against MCF from Mauritius. Deus had the early game. They stormed through, took down all the inhibitor turrets, had the game set. But this late game composition came into play because you didn't have the ability to lock onto the turret, and it's just like one fight later, MCF get the lock on. So you can see everybody is pretty much complete build. It's still just over a minute to go, heading in towards the 70-second mark before the next Lord will be available. This next Lord is going to prove to be vital. More for the side of Tribe than it is for the side of Friction right now. They have the ability to hold out and defend. Unless they lose too many players, then that's going to prove to be a little bit of a problem for them. They got to keep their backline up and running and ready. How they're going to find the angle to contest for this Lord, though, is the real question. You're going to have to do it, forced to do it in a 4v5 situation. You just have to decide whose job it is to clear the lanes. Personally, I would leave the Sicilian back, not because he doesn't contribute largely to the team fights, but he's going to have the faster wave clear. Oh, there's going to be the rough waves coming out, so no rough waves available. Will we see the chase on here? Camilla trying to frontline the Gemini going in there. There's going to be the Electro beats into the backline, and is the follow-up in there. Oh, the armor fended comes through, but the Cursed Blood is into the mix. Will we see the turnaround? The damage output is just too much. It's a 3-for-1 exchange, 4-for-1 exchange. It's only Infinity left alive. This, if they chase down Infinity, she goes for the knockup. Can she take down 2? If she does, it's going to be a game changer. It's the rough waves coming into the mix. And it's Infinity with the save. Keeps the team alive in the mix. Are they going to catch the Infinity out? Oh, Clint scouting out into the bush here. They're forcing Infinity away. Does have the position dash, but there's the damage coming through from Sicilian. Are they going to go for the Lord? They are going for the Lord, right? Personally, I'd be saying, let's take down. Oh, the Lord got reset. This is not good. Clint trying to sustain through all of this, but nobody's going to be around to help. As you're going to have to. This is why they shouldn't have went for the Lord. It was not worth it. Right there and then you had 20 seconds. You could have taken down a couple of the turrets. What? Decisions. So Basha now back up and running, and this is going to be a reset of this particular team fight. Vision being provided. It's getting a bit judgy right now. Once more, both teams positioning in more or less the same manner. Angela doing what we know Angela is going to do, which is push away. Both teams just waiting for this mistake. It looks like Friction have decided on the same strat that I was thinking of if I was in their shoes. Send the Sicilian to engage. There's going to be Ruby. Lands the armor offended. Onto 2. Clint repositioning here. Throws out the damage. There's the Cursed Blood. Onto everybody. But it's going to be the Electro beats into the backline this time around. Tribe managing to perform the execution here on their team fight in a beautiful manner. It's a 1-for-1 exchange. There's the armor offended into the mix. once more. However, the Bats Feast coming through as the final slash repositioning everybody. Captain Levi trying to dish out the damage, but he's gonna get taken down. It's a 2-for-1 exchange. Does he have the electro beats? Yes, he does. He's going back in here. Immortalities has been bought, but he knows that both the immortalities has been bought, but his focus here is really gonna be onto the Sicilian. Oh my goodness. The sustain just enough. They kept the team alive. It's a T1. This is the moment in time where you just push the mid lane and try to end. Nice from Basha, going for the wave cut, giving his team the opportunity to secure this. It's only going to be Kadita who's left alive to defend this. I don't think Kadita's going to be able to completely defend this. But Basha is just way too low, doesn't have the wave clear ability. He's going to have to recall and try and get ready for this Lord. He needs his team to come in to start this off. Arlott is doing so, though personally I would be camping out the Kadita, because you know she's going to have to try to come in to get a potential contest going. Kadita waiting patiently, knows she's trying to buy space for the team. There's the rough waves coming through, but Sicilian manages to defend that. Arla trying to zone everybody away. It's so low. Who's going to be able to land the retribution? Basha's being controlled up here. Basha does get the retribution, but he's going to pay the price. He is taken down here. Ildo taking a lot of damage. The Cursed Blood comes into the mix, as it's going to be a 1-for-nothing exchange. But with this Lord, this is all you needed if you were the side of Friction. You're going to have to wait for the Lord to spawn. This is not one of those times where you're going to worry too much about lane equilibrium. You've got your two frontliners, you've got the Lord, you just got to protect the waves that are coming through, allow the side lanes to do what they're doing, just force the mid lane. That would be my opinion. Leaving the Lord to be engaged upon this early on is not something that you want to happen. As you see the flicker being forced back from Ruby, the lanes should be defended, and then the turnaround here. But you got to protect the Lord heading into the base, which is what Camilla is doing. Rough Waves does come out. There's the engagement. Oh, but the Winter Crown here from Sicilian, keeping himself alive. The turnaround is in here. They're going to take down 1, make that 2, make that 3. However, it's Captain Levi with the chase on. He manages to get a lot of them. He gets the shutdown kills. He gets the damage dealers. Can he continue this? The Cursed Blood is into the mix. He pops the Winter Crown himself. There's the final slash coming through as Arlott. He's just melting them. It's going to be a 4-for-2 exchange. This is the opportunity that Friction needed. They got the Lord. They're just marching through with it. Ruby is left out. The final slash dragging the Ruby back, but they don't have anybody to lock onto the base, but they've got enough time to do this. Can Ruby do something? Maybe pull the Lord. Lord charging up here. The Cursed Blood coming out once more. They're focusing onto the Ruby. They'll final slash into the mix. If they take down the Ruby, this is going to be it. Ruby trying to sustain through all this. They do take down the Ruby. It does not matter who's going to be here. There. It's game going the way of Friction. Hotly contested matchup. My goodness. And with this, we can head into the third game. Again, just like the second game, this one took extremely long. We should have been so at the end of the third game already by now. But the matches that we had, I mean, it's not often you get to see close to 80 kills, 77 kills in total. No, 76 kills in total. Not very often you get to see a match running this particular length of time. But as we got to see, once you head towards the late game timing, it's just very, very difficult to end against a Sicilian in the mix, but the team doing very, very well overall. So, without further ado, we're going to head into the next game, which is end game up against Noxequii. Well, hopefully everything is ready and set. I'm hoping anyway. Potentially the JD, potentially there's a third game. I'm assuming that we're going to have the third game. They might have played it anyway, depending on whether the players were anxious to get that on the road. I'm just going to find out.
Yet another sacrifice to the god of darkness. Only soul-wrenching pain can wake her from her ignorance.
Alright, while the third lobby is going to be set, we'll be there in a few seconds. I'm just going to get this pause screen up and running.
Got some pain in their life, you can see it in their eyes. They're changing at night underneath the dark skies. Forced to become something darker inside. You can feel the switch, feel the shift in the tide. They keep desiring something that's more inspiring. Their brains rewiring, old thoughts they start aspiring. They're never tiring, no now they feel the fight in them. They feel the fire sweep, take over entirely. They feel it growing, it's showing the feelings. They keep overflowing, always stoking the fire. Adrenaline is overloading, hit the mat like a fighter. They never let up, never throwing, giving to their desires. No, they keep working on their focus. They feel the temperature rise, now there is no place to hide. You better dig deep inside and find anything, everything that you could ever need. Every breath that you breathe, dedicated to believe.
Streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told, swore they would feast one day on their bones. Going to the streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told, swore they would feast one day on their bones. They took the form of a beast. 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 They're all gone now, so you better watch out. Reborn now, took a new form now. Straight beast underneath what you see. They gon' eat anything, everything, make them bleed, cut them deep. A villain origin story, tangled with glory, now it's looking stormy. Off in the distance, hear the roaring, thunder pouring, there ain't no ignoring. Streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told, swore they would feast one day on their bones. Going to the streets that they called home, not for the weak, left out in the cold. Watched all the sheep do what they're told, swore they would feast one day on their bones. They took the form of a beast. 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 They took the form of a beast.
Into the game we go. Apologies for the delay, but we're back up and running. We're heading into the drafting phase. It's endgame up against Nox in this matchup here. I'll have the poll up and running for you in just a second.
Southern seas are my domain.
Muscle of iron.
Your
Bones
team
of
is
steel.
banning.
It's the first bans are coming through. It's Kadita and the Angela being removed as well as the Gatto. Gatto right now is so strong in the roam position that he's going to be one of those heroes that you're going to have to try to
Let's hear from the crowd.
get rid of
Make some noise
Your
for
team
yours
is
truly.
very early on. But anyway, into the mix we go. Let me get this poll up and running for you because this match is over, as we all know. At least for those of you who tuned in to watch. So second game, or third game of the evening.
Your team is banning.
End game up against Nox. Right, so we can now head and focus on the drafting phase now that we have the poll up and running. Endgame deciding to go for an X-Borg early on, but if a flex pick, we don't really know whether it's going to be, or at least we don't even know just yet, with the ability to swap out. But the Grok pick coming through from the side of Nox, very, very, very much on point. That the Grok is one of those heroes that causes so much problems. Crazy Killer going for a very early Brody pick, interestingly enough. Baba Yaga hovering around the Belleric, which personally I wouldn't really want to go in for this lineup. It's going to be quite difficult to get the lock onto the Brody. He doesn't really proc the passive from the Belleric because he's not an attack speed marksman. But let's get in to see how this is going to play out, because Wrath of Dryads combines nicely with Sinister's Last Insanity from the X-Borg. It does combine nicely. The question is, are you going to get the opportunity to layer it properly? Because X-Borg has certain weaknesses. When it comes to taking out the frog armor quite quickly, and Eugen going for the joy pick just to deal with the Last Insanity, I think, and maybe bait out the brilliance form from the Lunox. However, and joy does combine nicely with Grok as well, because Grok sort of seals everybody in, and it allows joy to get the maximum damage output from their electro beats. Though Joy is countered by the Belleric pick, because when Belleric lands that Wrath of Dryads, if Joy doesn't get the full 4 beats going and gets the CC immunity, he's just going to get dragged in. So there's like picks and counter picks that's happening sort of naturally here. As the final bans come through, the Lapu and the Ruby bans on both sides. But Dung, nice follow-up here to the Grok. It's just going to provide a little bit of extra amount of control and zoning. But with the Foveus being brought into the mix as the hard counter, because you picked up the Badang, you had to ban out the Foveus if you're going to go for a Badang pick. Everybody pretty much who's been tuning into the channel knows how often I talk about that two heroes being removed from the equation. Hanabi as the final pick here for the side of Endgame. Is not very often we get to see Hanabis into the mix. And it's Hanabi with Aegis. If this heads towards the late game, then Endgame have a very strong combination to deal with that. But as things stand right now, the early game is in the favor of end game. Nox just deciding to go for something that scales into the late game very well. Raikujin locking onto the Xavier there, which is, as we know, one of the strongest mages in the late game for both wave, clear, team fight potential. The drafts here, I can't really say who's going to be winning it based on the draft. Normally you'd be able to notice. There are some meta picks, there's some off meta picks into the mix here, and both teams are going to have to time what they want to do very, very nicely. To answer your question, I think Nox is from Mauritius. Well, a couple of their players are from Mauritius. I think they're a Mauritian team. It's nice to see the Mauritius sides getting back into the mix. They have been away from the tournament setup for quite a while right now, but coming back slowly into the tournament scene. But with that being said, we're heading into this, the third game. It is going to be endgame up against Nox in this, well, best of one, because it is the group stages. The best of threes will start very, very soon, at least after this Friday. So you can get your votes in. A lot of the votes going the way of Nox. There are a lot of players, or at least viewers tuning in, seem to love the draft coming through from the side of Nox at this moment in time. And Grok doing what we expect the Grok to do, is just cause that little bit of problems, give that little bit of extra vision, as it's all a question of establishing lane equilibrium. As you got to see here, right? Grok throwing out that wall. You see how difficult it was for Lunox to actually deal with getting the wave clear. You're forced to be a little bit unsafe in doing what you're doing. This is one of the things that Grok can do. He really disrupts lane equilibrium. Hard to deal with in the early game, in the mid lane. Both teams rotating here towards the XP side of the map, which means that they want to try to get some amount of poke damage. Oh, but do they catch out the Lunox? Yes, they do. First blood into the mix. Bobby Yeager tried to disengage and escape, but takes a lot of poke damage, gets back to the safety of the mid lane turret. He's going to have to be here to try and control this mid lane wave coming through. Either zone or clear it. Personally, I would try to zone just to allow Lunox to get that little bit of farm. Brody here placing pressure onto Hanabi. And they do manage to catch out the Belleric. There's going to be the knockback here. Belleric pops that vengeance. It's going to be second skill coming from Brody, but he's taking a lot of damage. There's the last insanity. Grok flickers back to safety. Brody in a lot of danger. Uses the Aegis, trying to second skill back. Doesn't have the torn apart memory. Does have it now. Is he going to be casting it? Torn apart memory comes into the play as they manage to secure another 2 kills. Endgame losing a couple here in this exchange. And while all of this was going on, Eugen just securing the turtle for his team. Now goes in there, nice jungle invade, tries to get the steal though. Xbox secures that buff. Nice play coming in from the Joy, sensing the opportunity to go in, just maybe to land the retry if it was possible. Difficult to retry blind, but you know, at least placing a little bit of extra pressure there. So far, Nox are using the rotation ability, the high rotation ability that comes out from having a Grok in the mix to control the side lanes. Once more, the XP lane is the scene of the crime, shall we say. Just to place as much pressure as you possibly can here. They want to divide and conquer. Create pressure onto the side lane, force the rotations, try and catch somebody on the mid lane on the way back. As we're just watching Well, one of the barbars, which is Phovius. I'm hoping he didn't lag out. Okay, he's just zoning the wave, but a nice wave cut comes through here from the side of Nox. This has been cleverly done by them, creating the space for Badang to rotate with the team. They're trying to set up onto the Belleric, forcing him away, want to at least force out some of the skills. A nice camping position in here. They got it themselves into a nice angle. Badang throws out that wall. The control is in there. The electro beats up. The Wrath of Dryads comes in as a counter. The turnaround. Hanabi dishing out the damage, but the pick of kill was all the side of Nox wanted. They achieved their objective. They forced the Belleric back, so there's going to be no big frontliner for the side of Endgame, as they can now secure this neutral objective with reasonable ease. Are they going to go for the claw pick? Personally, I would like to go in with this, as there's the torn apart memory coming through, and Abi is in a lot of danger. The tectonic charge with the flicker, the setup underneath the turret. They take down a 2. Belleric comes in there to try to get the defense going, but once more the wave cut is in here. They're focusing very hard onto this bot lane. Phovius, meanwhile, wants to try to push the top lane, while Belleric is taking damage here from Xavier. Dawning Light comes through once more. Mid lane being pressured in here. Is Belleric going to fall? Oh my goodness. The flicker play comes through as they manage to take down yet another 2. However, they might have lost the top lane turret. No, Badang rotated across, just keeping it alive for the most part. Just a sliver of health on that turret. They've been getting the kills, have Nox. They've got the jungle invade opportunity right now. But can they translate this early game pressure into turrets? That's the question. Phovius zoning this Grok away. Brilliance form comes out from the Lunox. Meanwhile, there's a solo kill in the bot lane, and this should be the first turret of the game taken out. As the pressure is being placed into the jungle once more, it's going to be the Fists of Fury, the first crack coming through from the Badang, as he just sets up the kill for his team. Nice wave cut in there from Eugene, but the setup, the combo is into the mix. Badang escapes this level of XP. It's going to be the tectonic charge coming out. Xbox doesn't have the frog armor available. He's caught between a rock and a hard place. Joy wants to go in. Electro beats popped as they manage to secure another kill. And this time around, Nox has been putting the screws onto this game. They did translate this early game into turret advantage. It's 10 seconds to go for the third turtle. They have the choice, however, to continue with the jungle invade, continue to place this pressure and wait the, what it'll be, 1 minute 20 seconds to the Lord. Will they want to do that? I don't. Most teams don't want to go for such a long wait. Brilliance form comes out from the Lunox. She wants to hit that dark ultimate soon, but it's going to get CC'd up. Pops that the ability to go for the dark ultimate, but doesn't have the turnaround time to get the damage done without the brilliance form being there and Badang being so close by. That first crack is something you're gonna have to worry about, as we see the third and final turtle of the game. All of them have been secured by the side of Nox. They're sitting at 13-0 with a 7.5k gold lead at this moment in time. Map pressure, map control firmly on their side. The chase is on, the wall setting up, but Xborg using that last insanity to spin back to safety, as the side of Nox are trying to at least achieve as much dominance as they can to potentially force out some of the tier 2 turrets. If they can do that and get some of the holy shields removed from the equation, it's going to give them the opportunity to end the game early, which is when you got this much pressure and control in the game, you want to try to end it early. You don't want to delay, because as we've seen in a couple of games so far, actually both games so far, we've got to see teams that have lost all their inhibitor turrets early still manage to turn the game around. And if you're wondering why is that, how can you lose all your inhibitor turrets early and still win the game, it always comes down to a question of wave management. You have to have the ability to control and manage waves, knowing the timing of when to push, when to invade, and how to control the match. Because if you don't do that, and if you're up against a late game scaling composition, the game can be turned around. Yes, my friend. Drafting is everything. You can win or lose the game in the draft. You have to have your layering of what you want to do on point. You have to decide as to what your picks are, what your counter picks are, who knows what they're supposed to do, or when they're supposed to do it, whose job it is to control or disrupt certain skills. Like right now for endgame, they should not be trying to contest for any of these neutral objectives. Their goal at this moment in time is to get Hanabi fed. Hanabi and Lunox, you need to get them fed. So you have to prioritize farm to them. You're going to have to sacrifice things like lords. There's no way you're going to be able to contest for any of this. Even if you lose some of the tier 2 turrets, Holy Shield is still available. Xborg here just doing the best he can. He will get caught out even if he does die first. Uses the last insanity just to force back as many players as he can. Will be taken down, right? But that alleviates some of the pressure in order to be able to defend. And at this stage, we're before the 10-minute mark. If you die, your respawn time's less than 30 seconds. So by the time the wave spawns, by the time it makes its way down the lanes, you're going to be back alive and up and running. A lot of people don't know that the spawn timing, it makes a huge difference. Electro Beats does come out. There's the stun from the Savior. It's going to be Brody. Hits the torn apart memory. Doesn't manage to take down the Belleric, but oh my goodness, it's almost a kill there with the dawning light coming through. But everybody's still left alive. As you can see, the final tier 2 turrets have been removed, but the holy shields are still there. So this gives a massive opportunity for endgame to try to defend this. Hanabi just throwing out that massive wave clear basic attack abilities that she has. As we can see, the waves weren't 100% linked up, and that does create a bit of problem, but that holy shield, as you can see, just makes enough space for you to defend. And it is going to be difficult at this stage for the side of Nox to get that full-on dive, their full-on set composition up and running. They need to right now, either, personally I'd be saying, right, even with the second waves coming through, you have the option to try to take an inhibitor. Personally, I wouldn't be going for that. Personally, if I was the side of Nox, I'd be trying to freeze the lanes. If we freeze the lanes, you're going to force the side of endgame out. You can see Xavier thinking the same thing here. Just leave the lanes, allow endgame to come out of the base. It's going to allow you to go for the set that you have, the set potential to come to the forefront. You have to be careful right now. Because even though you're 14-0 and you got a massive gold lead, the draft that the side of endgame has massive wave clear potential. And if they are going to get the farm they need while they're in the safety of their base, once we hit around the 15-minute mark, it's going to be a game changer. But nice zoning being done here by the side of Nox. They're just forcing that the wave equilibrium, the wave balance onto their side. Now we should see a bit of a slow push coming on probably the bot lane. They need to try and set up a slow push here, which, as you can see, they have got up and running. So nice macro from them. It's going to make sure that they have the safety that they need, because it's always a question of safety first. I don't think the side of endgame should even dream of contesting for the second Lord, but it gives them that you got to be safe. Better safe than sorry. So you can secure that objective. And now it's the question of wave management. You got to get the lanes synced up properly. You got to get your side lanes pushed in here. It takes a bit of extra time to get the side lanes coming through and then allow that to work with the mid lane. I think we should see the Lord spawning up on the mid lane side. I think based on the damage output on those turrets. Yeah, my Lord on the mid lane. Now it's a question of control. You balance the waves. You're going to get them to try to crash in at the same time. Though no one's taking care of the top lane, I think that would be Badang's job to try to get that done. And if you can get the wave sync on point, and it's going to be slightly not on point at this moment in time, just maybe a couple of milliseconds or seconds difference. This now is going to create the space that you needed. So as you can see, all the waves are crashing in at this moment in time. This was a lovely play. Oh, there we see Electro beats into the backline. The Wrath of Giants coming through. The tectonic charge sets up everything. The blow up is in there. Yeah, Hanabi trying to take down the Joy. Will be able to take down the Joy, but this is going to be a 4-for-2 exchange. The waves are coming through. The option to lock on is there, and Nox. That's what they needed. They needed the timing of the waves to be there, and they managed to secure the victory. Nukutami, just to answer your statement, I know it's not really a question, it's a statement. The draft from Endgame has massive wave clear potential. It's not so easy to go in for the dive if you don't have everything set up, especially with the Holy Shields being available. With the second phase of the waves for the First Lord, yes, the teams did have the option to try to actually go in with their set potential to win that fight. They did, but they decided to be a little bit patient. Wait for the Second Lord to be up and running, deal with your wave management, sink all the waves, and then go in for the ending angle. Sometimes patience plays often, as you can see. Very, very strong performance coming out from the side of Nox as they secured a victory in this particular matchup. With that being said, this is the third and final game of the evening. And, well played to all the teams who have won and gotten the points. We don't know who's going to be going through to the knockout stages just yet. We'll be finding that out probably by tomorrow, but for certain of the groups, potentially on Friday, because some of the groups are very tight, very, very, very hotly contested groups. So, with that being said, don't forget to smash the like, share, and subscribe buttons, as we'll be, if you can stay tuned and watch even more action here in the Southern African Mobile Legends scene. We've got teams from all across the Southern African bloc: South Africa, Madagascar, Zimbabwe, Mauritius, Kenya as well into the mix. We'll just see. Fortunately, we had some of the Botswana players on stream. Hopefully, we'll get to see you in future upcoming tournaments. But once again, everybody, thank you for tuning in to watch. It's a pleasure, as always, to cast for you. And so from myself, Waylander, it's gonna be goodbye and good night until we catch you on the next stream.